I got an email from a dude said this to me, it's like 3 years ago, young dude, and I knew it was gonna be crazy because it was all capital letters and right? Don't send me. If you don't like me, I don't care, it's fine. I'm a grown man, I don't really need your love or your support, but just don't send me a damn email with all capital letters. Like, you can keep the cap lock off and tell me to go to hell. You don't have to scream it, right? But this kid was screaming it, and he says, I can't find a job. Oh, Jesus, I can't find a job because black and Mexican folks took them all. Really? Blacks and Mexicans took all the jobs, all of them? Right? Then how is it that black folks and Latino folks are significantly more likely than white folks to be out of work? If that were true, why is it that black folks with a college degree are twice as likely as whites with a degree to be out of work? Latino folk with a degree, 50% more likely than white folks with a degree to be out of work. Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders with a degree, 23% more likely than whites with a degree to be out of work. Our indigenous brothers and sisters with a degree, 2/3 more likely than whites with a degree to be out of work. So I don't know where these people of color are taking all these damn jobs, but I know they are not taking them far. It's like they took them a block and a half and were like, yeah, I don't like that job anymore, I'm done with it, right? But this kid was convinced that's why he couldn't find work. Now, it's sort of ironic, though, because like the next paragraph is the paragraph where he told me that blacks and Mexicans are all lazy. All right, which is it? Because it can't be both, right? Because like if you took all the jobs, I'm pretty sure you're the opposite of lazy. That takes a lot of energy, running around from job to damn job. You can't be lazy and do that. And if you are lazy, I'm pretty sure you didn't even take one job, let alone all the damn jobs. I have this image in my head when people say this, right? Black people taking all the jobs. I have this image of like some farmer in Iowa getting up at 4 a.m. to milk the cows, right? And he walks out to the barn, time to milk the cows, time to milk the cows. And he gets out there and, well, these cows have already been milked. Who did this? And then some black dude pops his head around the barn and goes, I did it! I took your job. That doesn't happen. Like, why would anybody believe it? But if a president or a presidential candidate says it, right, and you're hurting and you are out of work, it's easier to blame that scapegoat than it is to figure out that the global economy isn't made for you, isn't made for working people, whether they're black, white, or otherwise, right? It wasn't Mexicans that jacked up Wall Street. It wasn't black folks that destroyed the banking industry. That was just rich, high SAT having white boys. That's who did that, right? It was white men with college degrees and business degrees and high test scores. They're the ones that stole or lost $12.5 trillion of other people's money. And they did all that in 18 months, destroyed the economy. There wasn't a Mexican person in the room, documented or not, right? There wasn't a black person within 50 yards of any of them, right? There were no Asian Americans, no indigenous people, very few, if any, Muslims in the room. It was just white, probably, just dudes that just real smart, and so smart that they lost all that money or stole it or squandered it. And I know people get very uptight when I mention that they were white. Sometimes people are like, why do you have to point out that they were white? That's sort of racist. No, it's descriptive, right? And if they had all been black and brown, somebody would have pointed that shit out. Like if it was all black people and all Mexicans, I'm really confident that somebody would have said, no more banking jobs for blacks and Mexicans, right? If black folks had lost all that money, $12.5 trillion, I guarantee you no bank would have hired a black person for any bank job, not even like a teller job ever again. That would have been it. But white guys destroy the economy and they keep getting bonuses. How does that happen, right? Because we're blaming the wrong people. We're not blaming the people at the top for the job situation that that young man is facing and millions of other white folks are in fact facing. We're instead blaming the people at the bottom because it's what we've done for 400 years. Right? Same thing with that border. Oh, we're going to build a wall. That'll solve your problems. Right? You think? Is that how capitalism works? Right? You think that's how capitalism works? You just build a wall and all of a sudden everybody gets a big fat raise? Is that what you think happens? Right? Of course not. The corporate executives in this country are going to continue to move their jobs overseas. They can continue to send their jobs elsewhere, put their plant in another country because it's cheaper, because there aren't labor protections or environmental protections. Nothing's going to stop that. I know Donald Trump apparently thinks that sending out some really mean tweets at 3:30 in the morning will intimidate corporate executives. Corporate executives don't give a damn about his tweeting habits, man. 3:30 in the morning, Donald Trump sends out a tweet. If you got $40 billion of investment on the line, you don't give a damn what Donald Trump said. You're still going to move those jobs. Right? Those jobs are still moving as we speak. He takes credit anytime a company says they're not going to move. He ignores all the times that they continue to do so. Capital will always jump across borders under capitalism. Goods will always cross borders under capitalism. If you allow goods to cross and capital to cross, but you don't let labor cross, looking for a higher wage, guess what? The game is tilted against working people by definition. And not just working people down there, working people up here, who would actually be better off with a larger, more militant working class, fighting for better wages and working conditions for all people in the hemisphere, right? But we don't talk about that because we'd rather blame these folks. If we could just build a wall, everything will be fine, right? Not understanding both the humanitarian component of that, but also the practical component, because that's a cheap and easy answer, isn't it? It's a way of saying that we don't have to actually do the hard work of rebuilding an economy that works for everyone.